What's up, YouTube? We're back with another video. Hit the subscribe button if you're new. It's All Pro Sports Talk, the home of sports talk. Today, we're going to do prediction and preview. Minnesota Vikings versus New Orleans Saints. This is a weird game because they will be in good old London, 8:30 in the morning. Now, I'll be up to watch this game. So, we're going to get into the preview of the predictions for both sides of the team. Keys to victory for both sides of the team. You guys know how we do it around here, baby. I'm going to start the Minnesota Vikings. They're coming off a very clutch win against the Detroit Lions. After they got beat very badly on Monday night against the Philadelphia Eagles, this team did come out a little sluggish against the Detroit Lions, and they beat them. They came back in the game. Kirk Cousins throws a corner pass in the back of the end zone to KJ Osborne. Touchdown, 40-something seconds left. Jared Goff gets the ball back. They pressure him a lot. He throws a no-look pass, interception. Minnesota Vikings did their thing, but it's a lot of things that came from that game. It's not really good things. Depends on how you look at it, Minnesota Vikings fan. Dalvin Cook severely hurt his shoulder, and he will play through the injury, but it is something to look out for. He is injured. We're going against this New Orleans Saints team. This is a very tough defense. This is a defense that's going to try to get after Kirk Cousins. They're going to try to stop the run of Dalvin Cook, and they're going to try to get into the face of Justin Jefferson. Besides week 1 against the Green Bay Packers, Justin Jefferson's been on the low. He ain't really been doing much. You know, he had the bad game against big play Darius Slay. Then he followed that back against the Detroit Lions, so he didn't do much. Now, we do know that the Minnesota Vikings only scored 7 points that Monday night against the Philadelphia Eagles. And we get the Philadelphia Eagles are one of the best teams in the league right now. They're red hot. They're scorching. But you did come back. You redeemed yourself with 28 points against the Detroit Lions to come back win. And I look at those numbers. Kirk Cousins was balling. 260 yards, passing, 2 touchdowns, 24 for 41. Dalvin Cook, 17 carries, 96 yards, 1 touchdown. KJ Osborne has stepped into this game plan, and he's become that good number 3 wide receiver that we know that he could be. With Justin Jefferson being on the downside for the last 2 games, you got to get this kid going. And I get it. He may be matched up with Marshawn Lattimore, but at least use him as a decoy. Last game for him only have 3 catches for 14 yards. It's not going to cut it. And I get it. Kirk Cousins spreading the ball out. He's spreading the wealth to guys like Irv Smith Jr., Adam Thielen, and KJ Osborne. But you got to get your star guy going. So that's the first key to victory for the Minnesota Vikings. Try to get Justin Jefferson going. Do not force the ball to him. And work off of play action with Dalvin Cook. Try to run this football and stretch out this New Orleans Saints defense. We saw this Saints defense last week give up a 65-yard touchdown bubble screen pass to Laviska Shenault. You can get KJ Osborne or Justin Jefferson in space. That could be the same thing that could happen for you. Get this team to go vertically down the field and make the Saints respect your pass game. Another key of victory for the Minnesota Vikings. Obviously, protect Kirk Cousins at all costs. This is a team that's going to come out and be extremely upset because they just lost their last 2 games, mostly because of turnovers. They just lost against the Carolina Panthers. They just lost against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Those are 2 division losses. You're going against a pissed off Saints team that's going to try to play you very tough, and they're going to try to blitz you and get a lot of pressure. Protect Kirk Cousins, and pressure makes diamonds. Do not let Kirk Cousins make many mistakes and take care of the football. Defensive side for the Minnesota Vikings, try to pressure Jameis Winston as much as possible and continue to blitz him. We've seen the last 2 games for New Orleans Saints. Jameis Winston is a turnover machine. Last 2 games, he's dealt with a lot of turnovers and played a lot of cover 3 shell look. The cover 3 shell look is 3 safeties up top. The way the Minnesota Vikings played is a little bit interesting. You can have the corners come down and press up the wide receivers, and you can have them play back and give them some coverage and give them some space. I wouldn't do that. Get into these wide receivers. Get into Chris Olave. Get into Michael Thomas. Get into these guys. You want to press up those guys, and they may burn you, but Jameis Winston can't make certain throws. So in certain situations, you want Jameis Winston to be looking like, man, I'm going to try to get it there. And when his mind goes into that type of mode, that's when those interception starts to happen. That's when those fumbling starts to happen because he is injured. Jameis Winston's dealing with a horrific back injury. You want to pressure him as much as possible, and you want to get to him as much as possible. And the Saints' offensive line is not good right now. They've allowed a lot of pressures and a lot of sacks for Jameis Winston, so pressure him as much as possible. Get some blitz in there and play that cover 3 shell coverage so you do not get burned over top by guys like Chris Olave or Juice Man Jarvis Landry. And also make sure that you watch out for Michael Thomas on those underneath slant routes. Do not let Jameis Winston dink and dunk down his way down the field in certain situations. If it is a 3rd and 10 or a 3rd and 5, get aggressive. If it's a 1st and 10 or a 2nd and 10, you can back off a little bit and try to fool him as much as possible with this athletic defense for the Minnesota Vikings. Turn over to New Orleans Saints. What the hell is going on, Saints fans? You know, this team came out red hot against the Atlanta Falcons. They had a comeback win. And then after that, everything just went to hell. You lost your last two. You lost against Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and turnovers have been the main problem of the story. And you lost against the Carolina Panthers last week because you fumbled the football and Jameis Winston continues to throw interceptions and make bad decisions. You want to protect Jameis Winston as much as possible. I don't care if you have to run a two-back system or a two-tight end system. Get Jameis Winston upright. Keep him upright and let him be able to scan and read the field. Also, get Alvin Kamara going as much as possible, not just in the run game. I want to see more of creativity of him and Mark Ingram in the game as well. Attack the linebackers of the Minnesota Vikings. Get those guys in space. Get Alvin Kamara in space into certain situations to where the defense may perk up and say, okay, what they're doing, and run the football with Mark Ingram as well, of the middle of the gut and off to the right side of the offensive line. And try to get some play action going with guys like Michael Thomas, Chris Olave. Chris Olave right now is the #1 wide receiver for this team. I don't care what anyone tells you. Michael Thomas is still a good wide receiver, but he's not playing up and he doesn't have the same burst that he had a couple years ago, and obviously he's coming off injury. But Chris Olave is the guy for this team, so get him going deep. That's the guy that you want to go deep. And the reason you want Chris Olave to go deep on this defense, it opens up things underneath for Michael Thomas. So you can open up those things underneath for Michael Thomas, and Chris Olave can go deep. It's one of those things that you can do. You can target those seams with a guy like a Chris Olave or a Jarvis Landry, and it gets things going. Get Taysom Hill into the game in certain situations. And I'm not just saying put him into the game as a running back, tight end, fullback. Put him in the game at a quarterback in certain situations. Something that Sean Payton used to do. Creativity will help out this offense, because I can look at it right now. Jameis Winston ain't going to last too much longer if you continue to let him get beat up. So put Taysom Hill in certain situations, let him run the quarterback position, let him run the offense on certain drives, and then bring in Jameis Winston. You're in the goal line situation, have a system to where it's Mark Ingram, Alvin Kamara, and also Taysom Hill. Who's getting the football, triple option, or you just do a straight power option with Taysom Hill up the gut. I ultimately do believe on the defensive side for the New Orleans Saints, this is where the bread and butter's been made. Demario Davis continues the ball. Marshawn Lattimore continues the ball. All these guys continue to eat on your team, but it really hasn't mattered too much because your offense keeps turning the football over. You want to play cover 2 single high safety against Kirk Cousins. For the simple fact, it's the coverage he struggles with the most, and also you're going to get a lot of pressure with guys like Cameron Jordan on the side of the offensive line. So you want to try to blitz him up the middle so he does not have time to sit and step him into his throws. And we've seen when Kirk Cousins gets blitzed and when he's uncomfortable in the pocket, that's when mistakes start to happen. So this game's going to come down to who makes the most mistakes and also who take care of the football the most. I have the Minnesota Vikings winning this game, and a close, narrow game. Have them winning this game 28-25. I think Jameis Winston will continue to struggle with the back injury, and I think the turnovers will continue to happen with the New Orleans Saints. Ultimately, I think that the Minnesota Vikings have too much firepower with guys like Justin Jefferson, Adam Thielen, KJ Osborne, and Dalvin Cook. So let me know in the comment section below, who do you have winning this game? Minnesota Vikings, New Orleans Saints. If you're new to the channel, hit the subscribe button. If you like the video, hit the like button. Most importantly, each and every last one, you guys stay safe, stay positive. Thanks for watching my video, guys. Peace.